All right, so in breaking news, the one big beautiful bill did pass the House. It heads to the president for signature, which will take place tomorrow, July 4th. Now, we're also going to do a calculation in regards to the tax cuts in this bill to prove to you whether or not it is truly beneficial to the American people. I'm going to show you what both sides are saying as always, and then give you the bottom line.
On this vote, the yeas are 218, the nays are 214. The motion is adopted.
They're going to be very proud tomorrow. So we're signing at about 5 o'clock, and at about 5 o'clock we're going to have B-2s and F-22s and F-35s flying right over the White House. And the Speaker and I and John Thune, we're all there together with I think most Republican senators and congressmen and women, and it's going to be a great day. So we'll be signing with those beautiful planes flying right over our head.
Okay, so that was President Trump making his way to Iowa, where he's about to host a rally later today to celebrate 250 years of our independence. But most importantly, which is the biggest news of them all, the big beautiful bill will be on his desk to sign tomorrow. And so this is just historic, especially in the short amount of time they were able to make this happen. And this is leading to some reactions that we're going to get to in this video, starting with ground news, which will help us see the reactions from both sides of the political spectrum. So if you guys want to follow along, just go to ground.news/DeVory. Now, take a look at this headline from Rolling Stone. It says Congress has officially passed Trump's bill to kick millions off of Medicaid. Now, again, this has been debated ad nauseum. I'm not going to get into it here. I showed you what the bill said. The bottom line up front is the left is going to continue to lie about what's in this bill, and it's going to be the results that tells the truth. Now, speaking of the truth, here is CNN finally acknowledging the truth about President Trump. Take a listen.
Stepping back a little bit, it's been a very good 2 weeks, I think, for Trump.
Absolutely.
I think you look at the Iranian strike, you look at the NATO meeting, you look at also the Iran-Israel ceasefire down to jobs numbers yesterday, and the gas prices lowest since 2021. Ending up with this, I think this has probably been the best 2 weeks he's had of either presidential term. And so what does that mean now? The momentum now, I think, is in his favor. Can he continue it? I think he can. But I think in large part, this caps a very, very good 2 weeks for Trump.
Okay, and let me just add on to that. There's going to be some bad times for President Trump, okay? It's the way life works. Up and down, seasons, good times, bad times. But the fact of the matter is, he's had a great start to a presidency that you would want, especially coming off the heels of someone like Joe Biden. Which brings me back to ground news here. If we're comparing how the left is reporting on the story versus media outlets that lean right, here's an example of it. The Epic Times, House passes GOP mega bill sending measure to Trump's desk. That's exactly what happened. Now, why do I continue to show you guys ground news in a lot of my videos? Because I'm a firm believer in showing you guys what both sides are saying and encouraging you to make up your own mind. And why is that? So you can think for yourself. So if you want to use this tool for yourself, all you have to do is go to ground.news/DeVory, or you could download the mobile app. Just use promo code DeVory, and it's going to give you access to everything that I showed you in this video, including 40% off the Vantage plan.
I think this is one of the saddest days in modern American history. This is the largest. Withdrawal and ending of healthcare in American history, and they're talking about this as though it's some tax cut. Even the stuff that they're talking about, taxes on tips, no tax on tips, that's only for people, that's only up to $25,000. And if you're making less than that, you're already kind of exempt from a lot of these things in the first place. So they're giving people crumbs and they're taking away the whole loaf. And it's just a genuinely really sad day for our country.
What about?
Okay, so I didn't show you that clip from AOC to annoy you. I showed it to entertain you because she was crying about the one big beautiful bill passing. And then she spent time trashing no tax on tips and saying it's not worth it for low income earners, which prompted me to do the math on the screen for you. Me and you are about to do it together. Even if you're not a math whiz, you're going to understand why this is beneficial. Now, again, it's not for me to tell you what to think. You let me know in the comment section if no tax on tips as a deduction is worth it to you. Now, this scenario is an individual who lives in California, They are a restaurant server, so they make minimum wage. $30,000 when it comes to their hourly pay, $20,000 when it comes to their tips, for a total income of $50,000 in 1 year. So if we look at the federal tax that they will owe, and you got to understand something, this law that was just passed about no tax on tips only applies at the federal level, especially if you live in California, because California does not recognize the federal taxes in the same way. They'd have to pass their own piece of legislation to recognize no tax on tips. And that's something that most people don't understand. Now, getting back to federal tax here, the tip deduction, they get to claim the whole thing because it's within the cap of $25,000. So you take that $20,000, subtract it from the $50,000, you get $30,000. Then you have another deduction at the federal level, which is a standard deduction of $13,000 based on their current income level. So that brings their total taxable income from $50,000 down to $16,000. You guys following along? So on that $16,000, this individual will owe the federal government $1,718. But understand something, throughout the year, they paid $6,307. So what is the difference between those two? $4,589 is somewhere in the ballpark of what their refund would be. Again, I'm not a tax attorney, not a CPA, and I don't work for the IRS. Disclaimer, okay? This is just ballpark figures. Now, if we go to the California calculation, which I'm not going to bore you at each line, the bottom line is they would look at a California refund of somewhere around $321 because California does not recognize the no tax on tips deduction. That's why it's significantly lower. So in the end, they could be looking at a total refund of $4,911 if you add up the federal and state of California. Again, these are ballpark figures. I think you guys are getting the point. So let me know in the comment section, do you believe no tax on tips is worth it to you?
I think you really have to give a lot of credit to Donald Trump, whether or not you like the way that he moves. I was thinking about the fact that when we look back to the last administration, it was Senator Manchin and Senator Kristen Sinema who were really kind of the reason why then President Biden didn't get all of the more liberal policies that he wanted, because they did not want to move that far. And you did not hear President Biden threatening to primary them. You did not hear President Biden pushing his political allies to put up ads against them in the way that you're seeing Donald Trump do it. And so I think that, it'll be interesting to see how, it's hardball. It's hardball. It's twisting the arms when he needs to.
All right. Now, before we move any further, if you guys have been getting value from our channel, please like, share, and subscribe. If you want to support us further, go to the link in the description below, buy us a cup of coffee, or shop our merch store. We got multiple new shirt designs. We got I Support ICE. We got MAGA Pack. And we also have Alligator Alcatraz. And all of them you can get with a matching coffee mug as well. And don't forget to follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Yeah, so I've said this time and time again. He's doing exactly what Nancy Pelosi used to do in Congress. The difference is she did it in the shadows. He does it out in public. He definitely deserves credit because at the end of the day, he was elected by the people and this agenda represents the will of the people. Now, we'll see if the claims that are against this bill become true because we have to let the results roll in. We'll also see if the promises made in this bill become true. So it doesn't really make sense to debate like you're blue in the face about this bill because that's what Democrats are going to continue to do and live in this mindset of fear instead of just doing the math like we did earlier. It's really that simple, folks. And now what I want to do is show you this clip from Speaker Johnson, who trolled Hakeem Jeffries because he broke the record for the longest speech. And here's what that looks like. Take a look.
You know, Ronald Reagan said one time that no speech should be longer than 20 minutes, and unlike the Democrat leader, I'm going to honor my colleagues' time and be a little more brief than that, all right? I just want to say something that many of us learned when we were children. We were taught, it takes a lot longer to build a lie than to tell the simple truth.
Okay, so that was him poking fun at Hakeem Jeffries, which clearly wasted 8 hours of his time to ultimately end up where he didn't want to, which is the bill passing. And I don't see how this actually helps Democrats. In fact, here's what one Democrat had to say by the name of Dan, who is one of the co-hosts of Two Way. He says that if Representative Jeffries' floor speech, delaying antics, pleases the base, who demand we fight everything, then clearly we have further to fall. That was utterly pointless politically and totally beltway nonsense. Can we please have strategies and antics that try to move the public or impact the debate? I'm sorry, Dan, Democrats just don't have it because they have the wrong people in charge. And it's almost a double whammy. Not only do you have the wrong people, but you radicalize your base. You almost have to just create a different party, in my own opinion here. Now, moments after this bill had passed, a reporter thought it was a great idea to ask Congressman Byron Donalds a gotcha question about the people she believes will be hurt by this bill. You got to listen to his reaction. Take a look.
I was in Missouri. I spoke to actually a patient who voted for President Trump, a Republican voter who was not qualified for Medicaid until Missouri voted to expand it because of how low the wages there are for teachers, for nurses, for police officers. What do you say to those people? Are you worried that you cost them their vote?
No, actually, I'm not worried, because what we're also doing in this bill on the other side is we are expanding our economy. We are going to get far more investment into the United States. So whether it's Florida, Missouri, Utah, Texas, wherever you're talking about, California, people will be able to have a stronger economy, a more durable economy, so wages actually will go up. Remember what happened in Trump's first administration. Wages actually rose for working families. They were making $6,000 more adjusted for inflation. That is real value in the lives of people. So our philosophy is growing the economy, getting more people into the workforce. That actually helps to take down the burdens on the federal government. And the long run issue we have is we cannot borrow money at this velocity. We can't keep this going forever. We are going to have to slow down our borrowings. That is an empirical fact. If we don't do that, the bond rates for the U.S. government will go up, and that will mean everybody's borrowing rates. Families looking for a house, looking for a car, credit cards, small businesses looking for access to capital, their borrowing rates are going to go up if ours continue to go up.
All right, so that response from Byron Donalds is exactly what I've been saying day in, day out. And it's what's always left out of these conversations. The federal government needs Jerome Powell to lower the rates because they want to refinance the interest on our debt at better terms. It just makes financial sense to do so. The problem is for Jerome Powell, not to mention his relationship with Donald Trump, which there is none, is that he's not really incentivized to lower the rates because that's not his problem. His problem is the economy. And the economy, because of the jobs report, as we talked about in earlier's video, has shown to be resilient. So what is he really going to do? The same thing he's been doing, which is not lowering rates. And so President Trump is obviously losing his mind over it every time he thinks about him. But more importantly, let's compare Byron Donalds' reaction to the bill passing to someone who got their show canceled off the far left network MSDNC, Deranged Reed. Take a look.
Okay, one more thing. Let me just do a public service. Since the 1930s, the medical establishment has never wanted to have universal health care. They didn't want to have Social Security. The super rich fought Social Security in the 1930s. They fought Medicare and Medicaid in the 1960s. Medicare and Medicaid are the only way that many seniors and poor people can get health care, and rich people do not want it. They've been wanting to get rid of it, and they've been looking for an entertainer who could be dazzling enough to poor folks to get them to vote to get rid of it for themselves. Y'all did that in 2024 by electing Donald Trump. He played you because he told you he was going to get rid of tax on tips and tax on overtime. He's not going to do that. That's not going to happen. This is about stealing your money and giving it to Jeff Bezos from Amazon, Mark Zuckerberg from Meta, and Donald Trump. They're stealing from you and using your fear of immigrants and trans people to do it.
Okay, so responding to her claims would probably be a waste of our time. But again, I like to show you what both sides are saying. I'm sure there's a lot of people who believe exactly what she just said. They believe that no tax on tips is really a scam and nobody's going to benefit from it. That's why I showed you the math. I took 2 minutes out of this show to walk you through it. And quite frankly, I'm done hearing why this bill won't work. Why don't you guys show us the numbers? Do the math for us. Show us in black and white. We went through the bill already in multiple videos. I don't see it. Now, I might be naive. I'm not the guy governing the country and I don't create policies. And that's why I'm a firm believer, ladies and gentlemen, and let the results do the talking. Next year, when tax season rolls around, we are going to find out if this bill truly is beautiful. And worst case scenario, it isn't, and they lose the midterms, and Democrats can say whatever they want. But at this point, they can't say anything, they can't do anything, and they have zero credibility. And let's just hope that President Trump is not only successful, but this bill truly impacts people in a positive way, because we do not want far-left lunatics controlling this country.
Mr. Speaker, Joe Biden turned out today. He tweeted his response to the passage of the bill. He called it reckless and cruel. It closes rural hospitals and cuts food assistance for our veterans and seniors. It jacks up energy bills, and it could trigger deep cuts to Medicaid, or Medicare rather, while driving up the deficit by $4 trillion. All of this to give a massive tax breaks to billionaires. Working people deserve better, the former president said. Your response, Mr. Speaker?
Those talking points are older and tireder than Joe Biden himself. None of us believe he actually wrote that. Some staffer did, but they're using talking points distributed by the DNC, the Democratic Party, and they're blatantly false. We can demonstrate that this bill is going to be better for everyone. What we did in Medicaid is strengthen the program, strengthen that safety net so that it is available for the people that need it most, and that's the disabled, the elderly, young pregnant women, for example. We're going to make young, able-bodied men who are able to work. We put work requirements in. That is going to eliminate a lot of the abuse in the program, and it's going to preserve those things for the people that really actually need it. Work requirements, by the way, Raymond, is about an 87% issue in public opinion polling, because everybody understands that's common sense.
Yeah, of course it's common sense, but for the life of me, I don't know why Joe Biden is still tweeting or posting on social media. As the speaker said, we know it's not him. And so what is truly the purpose there? Again, I mean, even when they're not in power, Democrats have a way of doing things that are truly disconnected from normal people. But as I wrap up this video, give me your thoughts about this particular story that the bill has officially passed. The president's going to sign it tomorrow on July 4th. I'm sure it's going to be a great live stream to watch. But more importantly, the math that we did together on the screen showing you no tax on tips and how it's been framed as a deduction, and even how AOC pretty much trashed it and said it's not even worth it. So give me your reaction to all of this in the comment section below. Now, earlier this morning, CNN experts and economists were left dumbfounded after the June jobs report was released, proving that President Trump was right again. So if you're interested on the details, all you have to do is click on that video, because it's coming up right now.